Day I don't feel like doing anything. I just wanna lay in my bed. Nope, nope, nope. Bruno Mars, that is some terrible, terrible, terrible health advice. Especially if you've just eaten a meal. That is about the worst thing you can do is lay in bed and do nothing. Hi, my name is Al Pome from Party Time DJ Services. This is my first video of 2025. So Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year to all my subscribers, all my friends, family. Hope you had some great times at Christmas and during the Christmas break. I know I did. Spend some time with family and friends, open some presents, and of course indulged in some meals, some bigger meals, which is not always a good idea, but it is part of the festivities related to Christmas. So hope you enjoyed that. But now we are January. It is now time to get back to our healthy habits. It is now time to lose those pounds, and it is now time to improve your health and make sure that you do not end up on one of these, the operation table, especially of a cardiologist or something like that. So we need to make great choices. We need to increase activity in general. And I just wanted to make this quick video to give you a few tips of what's been working for me for the past 6-7 years. 6-7 years ago, I did have a very big health scare on a road trip in Toronto. I decided to take my blood pressure. Not a great idea while on a road trip. It was actually a business trip, but I was at one of these pharmacies where they have the blood pressure machine. And just for the fun of it, I thought I'd take my blood pressure. And holy geez, I was 265 pounds at the time. I did not exercise. I ate lots of fast food, lots of very bad carbohydrates, lots of pizza, lots of Chinese food, lots of takeout, lots of A&W, lots of the stuff that, lots of fries, a lot of seed oils, a lot of really refined carbohydrates, lots of white bread, lots of pasta. Well, not so much pasta, but some pasta, spaghetti, all that stuff that is not great for you because it especially refined carbohydrates are going to cause a massive blood sugar spike and a subsequent insulin response to bring down your blood sugar, which unfortunately brings your blood sugar down low enough that your body says, oh, you should probably get a bit more sugar in there to bring back the blood sugar up to where I want it. And if you need that quick blood sugar fix, what does your brain want automatically? If you've been eating refined carbs, they want some more of those refined carbs. So it's a vicious cycle, one that I decided I was going to cut once and for all. So I decided from that point on to eat less processed food and focus on real food. When you go shopping at the grocery store, I decided, let's do more of the fresh fruits and vegetables, meats, dairy, yogurts, real foods that have like 1 or 2 or 3 ingredients. Eat real butter, go with the high quality olive oil or avocado oil instead of these awful seed oils that are pro-inflammatory and just all around bad for you, in spite of what the associations or the government or whoever else has been telling us since in the 1950s. Do not be afraid of fat, especially good fats. Do not be afraid of eggs. Eggs are one of my favorite foods. But I just started eating this way where I cut out a lot of these breads, a lot of these pastas, all these desserts, cookies, really bad snacks, chips, milk, chocolate, caramels, the gummy bears. You know what's wrong. You know what's bad for you. We know what brings up our blood sugar, even though we don't measure our blood sugar all the time. And as mentioned, the problem with these foods that are very rich in sugar and refined carbohydrates, and most carbohydrates, even those from fruits and vegetables, are converted into glucose, unfortunately. Although the glucose that comes from fruits and vegetables is usually combined with some fiber, with some vitamins, so with some antioxidants. So it's not quite as bad. Those carbs aren't as bad as what you'll find in the chips and the donuts and the pastries and the stuff that you like to eat, especially late at night. But I said cut all those foods out. Focus on quality meats, chicken, salmon, fish, good quality fish, not farm raised. If you can find wild caught salmon, that is probably one of the best foods. It tastes great for you. Plenty of omega-3s, and focus on those kind of things. Even like Greek yogurt is a great food to have. The dairy, I try not to drink too much milk. I love milk. I'll do the 2% or 3.25 whole milk, but again, not too much. I do love my cream in my coffee in the morning. I will have coffee every single morning. I do not put sugar in there. I no longer even use I used to use allulose or stevia. I use that once in a while in a tea or coffee, but often I'll just take some good 18% cream in there. That's it. Sometimes I'll add some MCT oil, MCT being medium chain triglycerides, which are a good kind of fat that your body can use for energy. So instead of putting that sugar in there, that MCT oil kind of keeps you full and you more focus, more energy overall. But having a good satiating breakfast or good that's a weird word to say, satiating. I don't use that word too often. Filling, something more filling, especially if you're gonna. I try to stick to two bigger meals during the day. The morning will usually be eggs, 3 eggs, sometimes four, either hard boiled or cooked in butter with some kind of meat and maybe tomato slices if you want. But it's usually just bacon and eggs or just eggs with some kind of meat or just the eggs by themselves with coffee. That's usually my breakfast. It keeps me full till lunchtime. Lunchtime, I generally don't eat anything. If I do eat something, it'll be perhaps a protein shake, perhaps a piece of cheese or two with a few olives or pepperettes or something, or a few almonds. There's a lot of low carb options that are easy to find. If you stock your house with these kind of snacks instead of the cookies and chips and candies, get rid of those candies. If you want to start the new year off right, maybe go see your doctor, healthcare practitioner, get some blood tests, some overall general health blood tests, make sure everything's good. And your vitamins, your blood, even have your A1C if your blood sugar. They usually do a fasting glucose just to see where your blood sugar control is. You can ask for a lipid panel, which includes your cholesterols, HDL, LDL, and also triglycerides. Triglycerides being a very important factor to give you an idea if you're eating way more than what you're burning, because that triglycerides are essentially blood fats, where you're eating all day. Your body can, when you eat, you do generally have a blood sugar spike, which tells your pancreas to secrete insulin. Insulin being a hormone that is known as the fat storage hormone, but it tells your body what to do with all this food and all this glucose coming in, and insulin will talk to your cells and tell your cells, okay, there's I feel that there's too much sugar in the blood. You guys need to take up some of this glucose and put it to use in the body, all over the body, all through the cells. And if there's too much of that, the glucose usually gets stored as glycogen. Glycogen being basically a temporary storage of glucose. But if you do have such a thing as glycogen stores all over your body, your liver, your muscles, but eventually those get full. So if you eat more and more and more and more, your body eventually runs out of place to put all this extra glucose. So it ends up as blood fat or triglycerides. And having high triglycerides is probably something that a lot of us have these days because food is so plentiful, snacks are so plentiful, and a lot of us do enjoy high carbohydrate, bad carbohydrate, high sugar treats that make us feel happy because they will release dopamine, but they are addictive. Sugar is addictive, and as mentioned before, it does create a vicious cycle. So if you can avoid those foods, those high insulin, high sugar foods that will, like I said, trigger big spike in your blood sugar and subsequent insulin rise. If you can avoid that throughout the day, the less of these blood sugar spikes you do have, the better. Because as mentioned, once you have no more storage in your body, and if you don't use what you've stored, eventually that gets, as mentioned, stored as triglycerides, but also your body can't store it in your organs anymore, and eventually it'll start adding it all over the place, usually in this area. And eventually once you feel, this area, you'll start seeing it in your arms, you'll start seeing it around your face, you'll get puffiness and all over the place. And constantly being in that high insulin, high blood sugar state, having high insulin in your body, first of all, inhibits lipolysis. It prevents you actually from accessing those fat stores, because your body, while you're constantly eating, it's burning that, it's storing that. But ideally, you want to eat and then not eat for as many hours as possible. After 2 hours or so, your blood sugar and insulin come back to baseline levels, and you are using that stored glycogen. You are doing activities, moving around, burning that glycogen. After, if you manage, even like during the night, a lot of people do like to fast. They stop eating right after dinner, so they stop eating at 5 or 6 o'clock. The next morning, wake up at 6 or so, it's been 12 hours. By that time, you've usually depleted those glycogen stores, And say you decide, a lot of people like to work out in the morning, and that's one reason why you have depleted your glycogen stores. So if you start being active, you start lifting weights, you start moving around, you start jogging, your body needs a source of energy. Where's it going to find it? It's actually going to find it in your fat stores. And that's exactly the idea behind fasting and behind not eating throughout the day and not snacking. You want to keep your blood sugar and insulin as normal as possible. And when you're in that state, you're actually able to more readily access that stored fat as energy. So that's why I try. I do have a decent breakfast, but it is not, there's no barely any sugar in my breakfast. It is mostly proteins and good fats. Then during lunch, if I am hungry a little bit, I'll usually make myself a cup of tea, black tea, green tea, a little bit of cream in it, and I'll be walking. I walk a lot. That's what probably one of my best tips is to walk a lot. I walk a lot. When I say walk a lot, I mean like in a day. I have this Fitbit. That's a good motivator. I'm already at about 12,000 steps or so. But sometimes at this time, I'm at the 12,400 steps, and I'm actually going for a walk. It is currently almost around 7 o'clock or so. I'll be going for probably an hour walk. So I will probably bring my steps up to usually an average of 17 to 20,000 steps in a day. That's a lot of kilometers, probably close to 20 kilometers, or I'd say about maybe 18 kilometers a day that I do walk. But the important thing is to walk first thing in the morning, after you've had breakfast, after every meal, if you can find it in your heart to make that effort and eat. What happens when you eat your breakfast, you eat your lunch, you eat your dinner. Right after that is when your body is starting to process this food, and that your blood sugar is slowly rising. If you can go outside, take a walk. If you go downstairs, do some kind of activity. You can jump around. Anything you do, stretch your legs, lift up your legs like that, pump your biceps or whatever. Muscles are good at, they actually are able to take that glucose from out of your blood, and they are actually able to use it because your muscles do need glucose to work. So they can take it from the food you've just eaten that you are currently processing. And that actually avoids one of those big blood sugar spikes that often happens after a meal, especially if it's a high carbohydrate meal. So first of all, cut out those carbohydrates, especially the bad ones, the white flour ones, the refined ones. Stick to the vegetables and fruits if you want carbohydrates, and vegetables you want, the broccoli, the cauliflower, the mushrooms, whatever. But peppers, just avoid the really bad carbs, as mentioned, the bread, the pastas, the rice, the things that will bring your blood sugar just like that. You want to avoid that. So the more you can keep your blood sugar at a relatively nice level throughout the day, and especially after meals, if you can do some exercise and get your muscles to do some of that intake of glucose, you're going to reduce those blood sugar spikes. You're going to reduce that insulin spike. And the less you can trigger that insulin, the less you're likely to develop insulin resistance. Because that is probably one of the main drivers of all metabolic issues with people today, is they eat so often. They think they eat 3 meals during the day, but they are usually snacking throughout the day. And every time you snack, that blood sugar and insulin keep going like this. While if you just eat in the morning, you'll have a rise, and if you walk, you're going to mitigate that rise to not being like that. It's going to be more like this. If you can do this, 3 or 4 times in a day instead of constantly doing this the entire day, your cells in your body will remain sensitive to the effects of insulin. The problem with insulin resistance is exactly that. Your cells, after constantly being annoyed by the insulin, hey, I've got some more glucose. Hey, I've got some more glucose. Hey, I've got some more. That gets annoying, even to cells, even though they don't have personalities probably. Eventually you develop insulin resistance, where the cells simply do not, first of all, usually they have no more room for this glucose uptake, and they're tired of hearing that signal. So eventually that's what happens with insulin resistance. And meanwhile, your cells don't want this excess glucose, so your blood sugar gradually will be rising, as are your insulin levels. And this can take years, of course. You can do this for years and years, but eventually it takes its toll, and your pancreas keeps trying to produce more and more insulin to keep up with this slow rise in your overall blood sugar. But eventually the pancreas simply can't produce enough, and it's at that point where you have extremely high, it's hyperinsulinemia, where you have chronically high levels of insulin, and you also have chronically high levels of blood sugar, and that's when the issues start. That's when you have high blood sugar. That's when you're diagnosed with diabetes. That's when eventually you can develop, neuropathy, problems with your limbs, with your feet, tingling. A lot of the nerve endings are having some issues. You can develop problems with your vision. So you don't want to get to that point. You don't want to end up here. So keep that sugar low as possible. Keep that insulin as low as possible throughout the day. Keep moving. Keep burning that energy. And in the first place, try not to eat foods that cause those blood sugar and insulin spikes. And your life will be better. You will eventually start losing weight. You will eventually start using those fat, that fat, or those what's in your fat stores or your glycogen stores more efficiently, and eventually you will be tapping into those fat reserves that have built up through the years. Especially if you try intermittent fasting here and there, where you'll just have an eating window of a few hours. So you'll eat from 10 in the morning all the way till 5 or 6, but then you won't eat till the next morning, and try to give yourself 12 to 14 hours of fasting. That's when your body is able to maintain maintain its blood sugar, its insulin, but also clean out. It's called autophagy, where it will actually start to recycle or clean out those damaged cells. The body has a very interesting repair mechanism. It's constantly trying to repair itself, and increasing your sleep is another way to do it. I need to teach myself that. I need to sleep a little bit more at night, but the more sleep you get, up to a certain amount, but get a good 7 hours of sleep. And try, like I said, not to eat before bed, and for the next morning before eating, try to do a bit of exercise. Try to move a little bit before actually eating if you decide to eat. And those things, and not snacking, are all great ideas if you want to let your body do what it does best and work how it should, which is to say, not eating every few hours. You want to have 2 solid meals and maybe one a snack in the afternoon or so, but try to have 2 satiating, filling meals, and your body will thank you. You will feel better. And if you can engage in some kind of, I like doing weights. I like walking, as mentioned, but doing weights. There's so many free workouts on YouTube. So many of them. You want to work your biceps, you want to work your triceps, you want to work shoulders, whatever. They're all free. Get yourself. I have these are my dumbbells. They're 25 pounders. You don't need bigger than that. Most people, for my biceps, I usually use 25s, but I have 15s for my shoulders because 25s are higher with shoulders exercises are really hard. So I have a set of 15 dumbbells for my shoulders and 25s for my biceps and triceps, and free workouts and walking. Combine all those with healthier, low carb eating, and prioritizing proteins and good fats. The fats, like as mentioned, in olive oils, avocado oil for higher temperature cooking. And you want a snack, you want a dessert after your meal, no problem. Have some dark chocolate. By dark chocolate, I mean very dark chocolate, like 80%, 85. I usually have 85 or 90% dark chocolate. The higher the percentage, the lower the sugar. And actually, in that chocolate bar, that 90% chocolate bar, you usually have like 5 or 6 grams of fiber per few pieces. And also nitric oxide, I forget, but it's something that's really good for your heart. That's why I say dark chocolate is good for your heart. It helps your arteries relax, improves the blood flow. So yeah, really dark chocolate is a good idea. But try to stick with, like I said, good fats, good proteins, and minimize the carbs. Since there's 3 macronutrients. There is fats, proteins, and carbohydrates. Carbohydrates absolutely will provide the biggest blood sugar and insulin spike, especially refined carbohydrates. Then proteins do have some effect on insulin and on not so much on blood sugar, but on insulin, yes, but it's definitely more moderate effect. As for fat, it has almost no effect on blood sugar or insulin. So try to stick. If you know that, that's when you're able to make better judgments on what to eat, what snack. If you need a snack, have a pepper, have a piece of cheese, have some olives, have a Greek yogurt, even for breakfast. If you don't, I love eggs, but if you don't like eggs, have a Greek yogurt. Add some almonds in there. Add some blueberries. For fruits, I don't overdo it on the fruit, but I do like berries, blueberries, strawberries, raspberries. All the berries are a-okay. An apple here and there is absolutely no problem. And do eat the entire fruits. Do not juice them. Orange juice and apple juice are basically just sugar, because when you do make orange juice, you destroy all the fiber, you destroy a lot of the good stuff. So if you want to eat the whole fruit, that's awesome. You're less likely to overeat it. I don't ever see anyone eating 4 apples in a row. You usually ate one big apple and you're pretty full. That's because of the fiber. It increases your it makes it more, it feels more filling than drinking a glass of apple juice. In a glass of apple juice or orange juice, you probably have like 3 or 4 or 5 oranges or apples, but just processed, all the fiber removed. So it's basically just a huge blood sugar and insulin spike. So avoid orange juice, avoid most juices. Actually, drink water as much as you can. Coffee is fine, just don't add too much sugar. Tea is great. Glass of milk once in a while probably won't hurt. Try to combine it with your meal, but I usually, if I have a glass of milk, I actually will add some 18% cream in there to make it a bit more high fat. I love my milk, unfortunately. I also love almonds and walnuts, but again, nuts are probably one of the foods that are easiest to overeat because they are very calorific. Although they are very good, there are plenty of antioxidants. There are some good proteins and some good fats in there. So yes, nuts for sure. Just be careful and understand when you're putting in a small bowl all these almonds how many actually calories you are in there, because they're very easy to overeat, as good as they are for you. So there you go. That's like a 20-minute video. Jesus, I'm so sorry, guys. I didn't mean to speak that much, but I had a lot to say. I've tried this video a few times, but I always end up talking about different things. You want to try to fit everything in one video if you can. And if you actually stuck with me through this entire video, thank you very much. I'm sorry for rambled on for so much, but I think health is important. And I want to keep this year. That's my New Year's resolution is to lose a bit of this belly fat. It is to build these muscles. I'm very happy. I'm doing some progress. I can actually see some muscles here and there. I can, especially in the video, I can see. It's nice to see as a man. I'm almost 50, and I want to be a very physically fit 50-year-old in a few years, and I want to keep feeling good, looking decent for my age, and I want to keep active. So please come along with me. If you have any comments or questions, please put them down below. I will try to answer them, and I hope it's been helpful for you. Thank you very much for sticking with me. Happy New Year, and we'll talk to you later. This has been Al Pule from Party Time DJ Services. One more thing. If you do all these things and you are still gaining weight or not able to lose weight, also understand that hormones do have a lot to do with weight gain, not only insulin, but also these stress hormones, which are with cortisol is probably one of the most known stress hormones, but also adrenaline. That's one thing that I found out is if you're doing a really intense workout, your body will automatically sometimes produce higher blood sugar, kind of like the fight or flight response, where your body automatically gives you a bit more sugar so you improve your performance. But cortisol is one of those that's less known. So if you have a job or a relationship or just your life is really high stress, it might not be just the way you're eating that's causing the weight gain. That stress, that increase in cortisol is also another factor. So don't always blame yourself, and especially with women, your not adrenal glands. I forget where I'm going. It's been 22 minutes, but anyway, women also have some issues that are more at the hormone level, where high insulin can also lead to PCOS, which that's a whole other story. I won't keep talking about that, but just understand it's not always only your lifestyle choices that will affect weight gain or how you're feeling. Hormones also have a lot to do with it, but understanding hormones such as insulin is probably a very important one. And with that, I wish you a good day. Take care of yourselves, and hopefully you have some good progress in 2025. Feel better. So eat less crap, eat less often, and move as much as possible. I'm actually off for a walk right now. Take care. Al Pule from Party Time DJ Services.